Malungil sil sa katamarmartial program kita DOTAUT Tekoi Ureor. Doing business in Palau. Ya korang al tengah tel al sil suruk ngari kal ke kare radil lo bengket kangal kar Palau iboring klel. Ya bengket al sil sa mang akora malo reng al waseng kuk mo kor o ais waseng ngaral Tekoi Ureor aku kal kora amla mo mati karak lang arengil likel mal soal marula. Makmal mereng asuler bekla agalo bangket emol tur kawe if luase halebok iwa imol verse rabi bilya makukum lang si tiang ada beti garingira Jeremiah 29 verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Tiang malungil badas tiang awil badas le korakaw marokuil makikarel atol mamaklungem el nga al selvelaw maikrel el tir obangketer el sils. Tial badas sa Dios awase nga kaamatenge aigel mokte karanga kalkirem. Ya Dios awase aigel mokte karanga kalkirem aigel morulaw mong sabem el mongil basum tiaka po matamal. Ay gaygi del mokte karanga kalpaskaw amo maskaw ulaklat maungil el future aungil el klat arkaon mon matat mal masawla Dios el angi nga kakuk tirakal kora motulil to kora marikel ma tirial mikarel ata asabil kora mual maungil lorengs ka mal diungil omolgo el to korbela o malupen to kora marikel atang makarang
Okay.
So I'm gonna be speaking a little bit more in English so the young people who are with us today can tune in and understand quickly. We don't have much time with Ivory. She's here only for a short time. So we'll speak in English, but she's welcome to also respond or ask questions and speak in Palauan, and I would do the same. But I'm very grateful to you, Eve. Thank you for allowing me to interview you on DOTAUT, Tekoi Ureor. The meaning of DOTAUT at Tokorbela, which means to implement, to put into action. And of course, when we talk about business, we always want to focus on not just the idea and the concept that we start with, but we want to also put a lot of our energy into finding ways to put these ideas and concepts into action. What do they help? What do they benefit people, the environment, and how they become blessings to be shared by everyone. So the floor is yours. Please let us know who you are, where were you born, school, and if you have any degrees to share. And then we will, of course, want to know more about your passion for work-related projects and things in the world that are entrepreneurships or small business or things that have to do with putting our lives and talents into livelihoods and doing business.
Malungil yitel sales mal masulang al sitel ngartial show tia first time ngak first of all nga kami role Palau akne born and raised tra Ureor Ramadalai and aknora school ra STA and then gimle move mo ramrigel aknora high schooler say then aknora college ra Walla Walla University ra Washington State akne study international communications with a minor in business. And then akno ra London study tourism, environment and development ra master's nga. And then since then I've been working akirado Israel all time di mong emirabela visit.
Malungil. Makmadingel masekamal el ngarado Israel mal di mo plool el mo kora homesick. El swam loreng el wase I wish I'm in Palau swimming at Tekoi Bay. Kamal mle mo koro retial Palau makamal swam tial ocean environmental Palau ay kal marine lakes may kal environmental Palau tangaringi. Masel lo senge mer Palau ay gaygi el klangal tangat ratios. These are all blessings. The resources, the environment we live in, which we all know as our nest of life, ang luke laklangar. Selmomes, are there opportunities sa irar magkakarela talway ka ngal karbelaw al lowspe malubet tamrula Tekoi ngia mo Tekoi Ureor al sab el ngosutrir mo sorry kera al selbelaw al marula.
Oo, malbeto ka opportunities. I think first kita tuwag terbelan mo ra school nang sabi learn ra new ideas rangot albalu and meet our other rangot albalu and learn new projects mar toy rangot albalu and we can bring those ideas and mera belao e implement ringi tial belao dire. For me akmal me benefit al meet our other from other islands, other youth from other places, and talk about ideas like, for example, Akpartra Group, Angklela Sustainable Ocean Alliance. Tial Group Ra Youth, they get together like once a month, and we talk about the ocean issues that we're facing today, and we talk about policies and projects that we can implement to help solve some of those ocean issues. But I think there's a lot of opportunities to learn from outside, and then ngunmera pelaw. For me, nga kamal passionate ra ko ra tourism. So, ako na Ureor Palau Visitors Authority, tial Ministry of Ministry of Natural Resource, Tourism and Environment. And we help to start the COVID Safety Pandemic Toolkit and also restart tourism, where we talked about how can we make tourism more sustainable and more equitable. So I'm really passionate about seeing that the industry in Palau be a place where youth can be more involved, from the management, ownership, to being tour guides, whatever we want to do.
I'm glad that you mentioned tourism because, as you know, over the past decades, tourism had become Palau's economic driver. Why is it an economic driver? Because of tourism, other industries have formed as related to tourism. Construction increased, and other businesses that would cater to tourism. Tourism is not only about people coming here to scuba dive and snorkel and go home. Now, as we have learned, studies say that after this pandemic and because of the socio-economic impacts of the COVID pandemic, 40% of the global tourism going forward is cultural tourism. So I would really appreciate it if you could share, and you could share in English and Palauan, what you think would be most appropriate in Palau in terms of cultural tourism.
So cultural tourism, a way that we can bring our culture alive. So culture can be anything from our language to art, to music, to sites, to history, to the people. So it's really about having people involved in our tourism industry. So when our other may visit their Palau, they see our other Palau. They see Palauans throughout their journey when they're here, and they learn about our culture. So like you said, tourism has been a big part of our economy for already now almost 3 decades, even more. And because of that, though, we've been very focused on environmental tourism. But in terms of how we can see more culture tourism involved now going forward, we can, for example, have like recordings, digital kinds of ways to record cultural activities that visitors can see. So it doesn't have to be like a turista mo mesa wayangas or omangat or something like that. So gotta record a waigegit and then create a way for us to learn about it in a different setting rather than going to visit our lirirar.
Preserve it. That's a great idea. So that's kind of like how young people like yourself would bring in technology to kind of help connect the elder people, what we know as culture, and we want to preserve that culture, become something that is shared to visitors, but has a zero impact on the environment, or we don't really have to get on the boat and travel somewhere, or be asking for special permission from a private family to go into their homes or their community to watch
Yeah.
That's wonderful that you say that. Now, I know that you said you were born and raised here the first 10 years of your life. Um, uh, do you see a little bit of change in terms of how our environment has gone through in terms of like I hear about climate change, and most people at my age are learning more and more about how real it is, and how our nest of life, our lugar of Klangar, is affected by climate change, all of these different weather patterns. Typhoons are more frequent. Could you share a little bit about your thoughts about how you've seen Palau change?
Yeah, I definitely noticed the weather has changed a lot. We have a lot more rain, and even when we go diving and swimming in the ocean, it's a lot warmer. Just today, when I went kayaking in Nico Bay, it felt really, really warm. Like the top of the ocean was really cold because there was a lot of rainfall the last few days. But when you dive a little beneath the water more, it's very, very warm. And you kind of wonder how are creatures living in this ocean when it's so warm.
Yeah.
And I think corals are bleaching, and we really see the impacts more and more. In terms of growing up, I also think it's just been a big change. When we grew up and we went to the Rock Islands, I have really fond memories of camping out. And we didn't really have these worries seeing plastic everywhere the same way we do now. So it's not just climate change, but also plastic pollution that we're noticing more and more. And it's really sad. But this is why young people need to be involved, because it's really like on us right now to come up with the solutions. We really kimal grateful and more the lad Matmat who helped teach us about the environment and preserving the environment. We didn't have those issues before, and now that we do, we can implement what our parents taught us and learn to implement solutions that are going to take away the plastic problem and fight climate change, for example.
Hopefully include technology or things, renewable energy solutions to help with these problems. That's wonderful to discuss, because I, at my age, have also seen quite a big change from when we were born and raised to now. And yes, this climate change and the way that the globe is kind of heating up the planet with the heat in the ocean and the land. In Palau, we always say the land is our mother and the ocean is our father. We must take care of both of these things. Do you see any possibilities of maybe more tourism on land here in Palau?
Oh, malbeto ka opportunity ra tourism ra Babaldao, for example. And really gira del utilize sa Babaldao because beto ka kither other pela ngangi at mam ra Babaldao, right?
Ngangi at the mother Babaldao.
At med, ra Babaldao. And what I see that how we develop the tourism industry in Ureor, a lot of the tourism business are foreign managed. And I really would like to see more Palauan ownership. So when I did my dissertation on land ownership in Palau, like the unique part of our land tenure system is that, of course, we have clans. And so families own these lands. So I would love to see projects that involve entire families, entire clans, where everyone in the family and the clan can benefit from a tourism business, whether that's a hotel, a restaurant, a tour operation, and see throughout Babaldao, there's so many beautiful sites to see. Visitors can learn about our culture through those sites. Visitors can explore the jungles, the waterfalls, just something different than just our ocean and dive kind of tourism. So visitors are really interested in that, and I think the Palau are really interested in that too. We like to go on adventures, and so it's just how can we share that experience with our guests? Yeah.
Mo omom das vetia mal mokter tel program ra kumamra DOTAUT Tekoi Ureor. Luaseng ranga sabedel mes regal blessings. All these resources we have, land and water, are blessings to people who are living here in Palau. So instead of young people migrating outside, I certainly pray and hope that they would also start to see the blessings inside, on the land and the ocean. and then become more innovative and creative on what to create. As startups, micro, small, medium enterprises, as nonprofits, maybe groups who can, form projects that deal with recycling and other ways, not only to solve problems and to keep Palau pristine and beautiful, but they can turn it into livelihoods. They can turn this type of activities into economic livelihoods. So my next question to you would be, if you were to think of something you'd like to do in Palau as some way of forming a livelihood for a young person, something small, but something that maybe another young person watching on the program with us can say, yeah, that's a possibility. I think I can do that. Do you have any experience or ideas that you would like to share?
Well, I've got a lot of ideas, but my dream project is to run my own ecotourism lodge. So something that's off the grid, that involves a sustainable farm, something that we can showcase our beautiful architecture, our culture in the design. So this is kind of my personal dream. I know it takes money, and usually that's a big barrier for us young people to develop projects, access to grants, access to financing. But if money weren't an issue, that's my dream right away. At this point in time, if you're a young person, you're interested at all in tourism, you can right away sign up to Airbnb experiences. You can create your own website. You can become a tour guide. And of course, get your license at Core State and talk to each of the
professional
states.
tour guide.
Yeah, but right now as a young person, there's so many opportunities. And honestly, starting your own website is really easy. So I started a website for several businesses here in Palau, one of which is a coconut oil company. And right now, it's Pure Palau, made in Palau.
For your auntie.
For Auntie Leah. And they export coconut oil to Guam, to the mainland US, and also to Europe. So starting an online digital e-commerce business is super easy. It takes only a month. It doesn't cost a lot of money. And so my business as a young person in Palau is mostly in consulting, in doing reports, writing documents, doing research. But anyone can start that. And I started by getting my consulting business license here in Palau, and I did work for our Bureau of Tourism, for Palau Visitors Authority, and now I do some work for our Office of Climate Change as well. So my start really is taking what I learned in academia and my love of finding solutions to the problems we're facing to help whatever ministries and government entities in Palau need that kind of work. And I know that there's a lot of international development agencies, international ones like from Japan, Taiwan, the US, Australia, that look all the time for people who can offer those kind of services. So if you're interested in that, I'm happy to share more about how I did it too.
Well, thank you for sharing, because as you know, in Palau, a lot of times people are shy to share, and this is one of the reasons why we want this program to be to continue to have interviews with young people, older people. It doesn't matter what age you are, you can be an entrepreneur. You can start something. You can be innovative and creative. And if it's in the realm of the environment, you can be an ecopreneur, an aquapreneur, an agripreneur. I am hoping that we will continue to support our creative arts, music and arts in Palau, because I see a lot of opportunities in the arts and music where they can, help to preserve the indigenous culture of Palau through music and chants and dance and art. And I do know that one of your gifts is music. Is there a possibility that you can see for young entrepreneurs in Palau who are artists and musicians?
Yeah, we have a lot of young artists and musicians. A lot of my friends and cousins I know are already trying to sell some of their art, whether it's stickers or recording their music. But I really want to see more businesses that help preserve our culture in the way we record, whether it's music recording or also written history. I think our biggest issue is that we haven't recorded enough of these beautiful gifts and talents that I think a lot of our family and friends have, you know. So I really want to see more businesses that support those kind of things. And preserving culture is really like for us, right? Because we know that globalization, colonization has changed so much of our culture already. And so I think it's really crucial right now that we focus all our resources as much as we can to preserving that culture. And we talk about that for tourists, but really we're doing it also for ourselves and for the next generation to come, and to do it in a way that's interesting to them, whether it's through videos, through movies. Why don't we have like more movies in Palau, by the way, you know? Something that's filmed here, like, you know, The Legends or something really cool like that. I would love to see.
Yes, I think that would be a wonderful avenue for other business opportunities in Palau, especially with young people, entertainment. You know, they could be creative in setting up, you know, entertainment that would make people have much more of a quality of life. And not only for visitors when they come to go to the night market and to hear some music, but quality of life, you know. They work hard all week. On the weekend, maybe they want to go see a show or go see a play, a movie, or something that has you know, fun and meaningful. Malungil. I'm very happy that you've mentioned that. And I know that you're traveling, but I know your heart will always be thinking of Palau. We are going through a time where the corals are bleaching more. The ocean environment is at a point where we really need to be wise. If we do coastal fisheries, or I'm deeply supportive of aquaculture, because I find that we can be more secured with food if we had not only agriculture but also aquaculture, and kind of give our ocean a little bit of a break, because we suffer from the garbage and trash being uploaded by big ships or other countries. And then we're just a small island. What can we do? They float to our shores. So I'm hoping that maybe in your travels and your work of being a sustainable tourism consultant in the company you work for, that if you find solutions, marine renewable energy solutions or recycling waste solutions, or other solutions that can help Palau, a small island developing nation, that you would share. And you would always be able to share you're well connected to the super ministry here, which is the Palau Visitor Ministry of Human Resources, Culture, Tourism, and Development. So you can send those information, help to give some good recommendations and suggestions to your uncle, Minister Nirai, and also Uncle Katoy Rulukot, who is the Managing Director of Palau Visitors Authority. And I think Bureau of Tourism is also under that same ministry. And so I encourage you not to forget us throughout your travels. If you find some good solutions or good ideas, to share with us.
Of course,
Yes.
of course. And also for the youth, I want to say, if you're looking for opportunities in ocean, climate, or tourism, I really would love to share some of those opportunities with you. Like not only me, but some of our other youth, like Kenneth. We were both in Egypt for the...
He works with the president's office, I think.
He used to, yeah. He's finishing his master's now in Taiwan.
Oh, okay.
But we really know a lot. We're really well connected to a lot of youth from around the world that are passionate about issues, and we can help access finance and grants for you guys to take trips also and learn from meeting other youth from around the world and learn from scientific experts to find these solutions. So I really am excited to share some of those opportunities with whoever's interested, and maybe we can start like a climate change group of passionate youth here in Palau. Why not?
Why not? That's a great idea. And also, I would encourage all the youth to visit the Palau National Museum, the other museum in Palau, at Pisong Museum, just sort of learn a little bit of the history, so as they move forward with their innovative and creative ideas, that they can include indigenous knowledge and culture. And it just makes their products and services become even more special. And I do believe that as we look into the future, there are companies around the world, there are people and organizations who are very supportive of this type of things, because we don't want them to get lost. And island cultures are very unique. And you've traveled between Europe, US, and the islands, so you can see the big difference in cultures. And every culture in the world is unique and special. We cannot just say, just like people are a diversity of different ethnicities, we cannot say that the world culture can be just one entire global culture. It takes all the different cultures to make the world culture beautiful and the way it's meant to be. So if you look into the future and you could leave something for the young people who are with us today on this show, DOTAUT, Tekoi Ureor, I'm believing in huge in work ethic, but I do know that young people have a lot of great ideas. If there's something that you could see going maybe 5 years ahead from now until going into the future, is there something you could live with the young people to think about?
Yeah, I think first, I think you should listen to the stories. Listen to the stories from your family. Take your time to research some of our history. There's a lot of good books. You don't just have to go to the museum. You can also read some of the books that are out there, like the Roman Matul Visionary of Palau book, or from Angkot Francis Toribio.
Yeah,
his
the diver who fell from the sky.
Yes, the diver who fell from the sky. There's a lot of really good books that Palauans have written that helped me to learn more of our history. And then after learning more of our history, I would say the world is a big place, but the Pacific alone is really, really big. And it really helped me in my education to read more about what's going on in other islands like Hawaii or like Tahiti, and to see and learn from what they're doing over there and how similar our cultures are, and the ways that we've all been affected by colonization and globalization. When we think of our history and we think of how much has changed, it helps us to better understand what problems we have today. And once you understand what problems we're facing, then you can really focus your attention on what's most dear to your heart. So what problems do you think are most critical for us to solve at this time? So whether it's about healthcare, or it's about education, or tourism, or climate change, like whatever issues that you're passionate about, really learn about that. And then you can, of course, go and study it in school, but you don't have to go to school necessarily to learn and to implement solutions in Palau. So I would say, yeah, my biggest word of advice is to keep on learning. And for example, it's really important to document the history of your family, whether by taking pictures or recording, taking time maybe to write a song, something like that. I think those are really important things, because at the end of the day, like, that's most important in this world. And it doesn't matter what you're going to do outside of Palau. It doesn't matter as long as you know who you are, you know where you come from, and you know who you're doing the work you're doing for.
Very good. Thank you, Ivory, for sharing that. Problems are opportunities. So now that you've heard from another young person who is Palauan and an island person, there's always a saying, you can take an islander away from the island, but you cannot take the island away from the islander. And so I know it's deep in your heart. And thank you for taking the time to share with us today. And hopefully you come and again or return home.
For sure. Sulang.
Thank you for
Thank you.
watching. Till next time. Woo!